Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 2 of our Aragon campaign in Medieval Total War. We're playing in the late period on expert difficulty here, and in the first episode we did a pretty good start, I think. Got ourselves a decent little empire on the Iberian Peninsula, picked up Sardinia by bribery, and we've still held on to Sicily. In this episode, what we need to do is try to avoid excommunication. This was threatened to us by the Pope. Basically, we attacked the Spanish a bit too much, and the Pope told us to stop for about 10 years. So we've got about 10 years. I want to give it actually a couple more just to be on the safe side. And the really only goal that I have for this episode is to pick up Valencia, because this is one of our goals. It's the only homeland that we don't have currently. And if we can get that before the year 1350, we will get 5 more points for glorious achievements. It's 1330, so we get 20 years. We wait 11 or 12, and then we take it and maybe eliminate the Spanish, depending on who actually holds the province at the time. Now, if that succeeds, we get, let's see, I think this is 8, another 8 is 16, so we would get 22 points. And we can just take a quick look to see where we would be, actually. We would be well ahead of the Almohads, well ahead of the Byzantines. The Danes have the potential to pick up some points here if they get their trade income high, I guess, but that doesn't look likely. The Egyptians are, getting close if they do some conquest and if they actually build Cairo. The English, too, could be a contender, as well as the French if they get Normandy and Brittany, and they've all got 20 years to accomplish this as well. The Germans, actually, are oddly doing well in the late era. And the Italians, not so much. The Polish are an interesting faction to play in Glorious Achievements because they do get some interesting goals. They've got to build a university. They've got to defend provinces against the Mongols. The Russians are really one of the biggest threats because they have a very, very favorable conquest turnover. So for every province they get, they score 2 points. That's the reverse of what I've got. I need to conquer 2 provinces to get a single point. But it's way ahead of most other factions who have something like what is it? Okay, the Almohads have a 3-1. The Byzantines have a 2-1. I think like the French and the English have like a 5-1. Maybe it's different in the high or the late era. Yeah, so they made it a little easier to get points for some factions, but still the Russians have an extremely favorable rate of conquest. And their homelands are very, very small at this period, but you can do very well as them. And the other thing about the Russians as a Glorious Achievements opponent is that because they're so far away, it's hard to interact with them and cut them down. So this might be something we have to deal with through agents or, a fleet if we can get over there in time. The Spanish are, of course, doing horribly thanks to us. The Turks tend not to do very well, but the Hungarians might. Yeah, the Hungarians get a 1-2, but they typically don't get very big. So, looking at the loyalty, we need to actually drop taxes in Leon. Maybe we'll go and actually move this spy over there. I mean, Castile is also a recent conquest. We took that at the in the last episode, and I guess we should maybe consolidate our troops here because this is actually looking fairly weak. Let's see, I'll move that guy in. I suppose the Almohads could also, they could barely attack Leon. And there's really nothing here right now. But I'm hoping that they're going to be distracted by the rebels. Maybe they'll want to take Portugal. And maybe they will want to take Valencia, which would actually be good for me. Because then it would free me up to take it sooner. Potentially by Crusade, actually. Well, we can train stuff. So let's do that. We just brought in some swordsmen. Let's maybe go. Let's try chivalric sergeants. We'll just get another good spear unit. And Castile gets iron as well. Leon does as well. So there's a lot of good military just waiting to be made here. I think Cordoba does not, but it's a good trade province. Yeah, it's got silk and hides, which are pretty rare. Yeah, and our income is almost 1,600, so that's looking very good. The farming is actually quite high here. And I guess we're going to want a port, really, on all of these places. But first, let's go with a metalsmith, because we actually do have the option of making some good troops already here. And maybe Leon, this is the one we're moving towards, like Crusades. We're going to hopefully get some Knights of Santiago out of here. So we'll sort of reserve that for the moment. Navarre, let's get some archers, just some basic archers. And maybe we want mercenaries at this point. Yeah, I'll take Pavi's Arbalesters. And Pavi's Crossbowmen too. Alright, loyalty's not awesome, but we'll be with the king soon enough. Now, we've got 3 titles here. One of these is going to be the Lordship of Castile. And then we've got Archbishop of Saragossa. Okay, so this is our cathedral, I guess. Wow. Awesome. So this is where we can get cardinals. I think this is the only place we can get cardinals, because you can only have a single cathedral. And it's making us a little bit of passive income. And morale +3, so this is really nice. And actually, we have a chapter house here, so we could do a crusade right off the bat. But so this basically gives piety, a little bit of acumen. Here's the Castile thing, +2 loyalty, +1 command, and keeper of the privy seal. So that's due to, oh, probably this, the chancellery. So pretty nice. I can't give titles to my sons. Unfortunately, this guy is not a great candidate for governor of Castile. -3 morale. Let's see, I could maybe make you. Yeah, we'll give him 2 command. He can be the Duke of Castile over there. And maybe I'll also make him Archbishop. That makes us an extra couple hundred. And I'll hold on to this. We've also actually, Duke of Aragon, yeah, we've got to give somebody that title. I guess I could have given that to him, but whatever. And then we've got to eventually give somebody that. Alright, we'll wait for somebody with command. Leon, I suppose, doesn't really matter. I'll wait for a better acumen guy. And we've got Princess Beatrice, who I guess we could send elsewhere. Let's bring her over into Western Europe a bit. Alright, yeah, let's keep going with swordsmen. And what else in Aragon? I mean, do we want to get siege equipment, or do we want to just rely on mercenaries? Because a lot of times it does show up in that sphere. Okay, we may as well disband the catapult crew, and probably both of them, actually. Because there's very little they can do at a certain point. Maybe I'll keep these 6 guys, but I'm doubtful that they're going to be very helpful. I could retrain this Royal Knight here, because they do have that capability. Yeah, but the mercenary archers, they're just really not going to be helpful. Okay, well, I think it's a little, you know, a fortress may be unnecessary. You know, part of me wants to build it just for bragging rights, but that's 20 years, and we just don't have a ton of time in a campaign. So I think we want to keep going with stuff like armor and weapons. So let's make ourselves really tough in Aragon. And maybe I'll go more for weapon upgrades in Castile. I don't know. Maybe that's what I'll flip. Maybe I'll just get them all toughed up in all of these provinces. We got Navarre too. All right, let's move my emissary somewhere. Kind of curious what's over in Malta, because we know it's not the Sicilians. Alright, yeah. I'm hoping that's just the low-level guy. I think it probably was. These Inquisitors are hard to stop. So this is John de Vere. So that sounds like an English name. Okay, that's a silver mine in Sardinia. That's making us a couple hundred. I think it's 250 a turn. No, actually, I think it costs 250. It's making us 78. All right. If we were to upgrade it, that would make us double that. You know what? Let's just plop an inn. And so we were thinking about getting ships going. I think that is a good idea. Although, since we have... Yeah. Let's get another spy. We've got 1 year. And then this will be ready for us to train caravels or build caravels. So we'll do that instead. Okay, let's... yeah, get all of these guys out. And I'll send you... Actually, we can retrain crossbow guys here. We may as well. But you can go back to Aragon. Okay, he's actually decent. Great loyalty, okay acumen, and good happiness bonus. So maybe he is a candidate for, you know, I don't know, maybe Leon. In fact, that might be good. Let's see what that looks like. So he's get a plus 20 to happiness. Loyalty right now is 120. 131. Okay, so I think that plus 20 happiness is literally equivalent to the loyalty. And then he had what, 1 dread? So that's probably where the 1 comes from. Oh wait, no, that was plus 10 happiness. Then I have no idea. No idea how it works. All right, we've got the ability at least to raise taxes a bit there. Now we're making 2,000. And we've got more swordsmen to come over. Okay, Prince Sancho. He is the only heir currently, and he is a brother, as is, I believe, Prince Fernando. So we're going to need to get our king married. So where'd my emissary go? Aragon. Okay. Well, you're actually in a great position. Let's actually see if we can marry an Italian princess, if they're open to it. We're already allied with them. They may not see any benefit from it. Okay, there's John de Vere. That's the guy who just killed one of my dudes. So I think what we got to do is start working up our assassins. Just bringing assassins into the homeland and leaving them around where they can be very aggressive against these Inquisitors. Let's see. Yeah, both of these guys have 1 valor, so it doesn't really matter which one. It's not great odds, but that's why we've got a bunch of assassins. Yeah, let's do a couple more anyway. So it didn't look like last turn the Almohads bothered to attack the Spanish or the Portuguese, so they're probably consolidating just like we are. Okay, yep. Failed to kill that Inquisitor. Alright, we got our dockyard, we got a church. Right, we're retraining you. So here's our caravels. A great upgrade to the bark. Bark has attack 1, defense 2. Caravel has attack 3, defense 3. And this is a deep sea ship as well. Barks can only go on coastal waters. So coastal waters is any place that adjoins land, right? So that's actually a lot of places. Most of the sea regions are coastal. But there are a few places, like the Western Mediterranean, the Central Mediterranean, and then we've got the Atlantic sea regions. So the Atlantic Ocean and the North Atlantic. I think that's it for deep sea regions. But the other thing, the secret benefit of deep sea, is that it allows your ships to move 2 sea regions in a single turn. Unlike barks, which can only move 1 at a time. So it's a really actually strong upgrade because, especially if you can count these as one of them, that means our caravel, when we build it off the coast of Sicily, we can immediately move it to like the Straits of Gibraltar if we wanted. So it's a really, really nice feature. So we're just going to get probably a bunch of caravels. Yeah, let's just go with it. We'll try to get our assassins a bit of success, hopefully. Yeah, we've got another one here. Do we want to make this guy King of Navarre? Yeah, let's leave it as it is right now. Right, this is looking like a kind of decent army. I'm gonna go ahead and retrain these Royal Knights, even though the loyalty's not good. May as well have another unit. So that'll give us, you know, 1 heavy cav with our king, another heavy cav with the sun, and then a 3rd Royal Knight, and then these guys who will have to wait around for a while. Maybe I'll disband them eventually, but they may see a bit of action. What are they training over here? Okay, not much. They've got some javelins, they've got their trebuchet crew, of course, and then they've got some halberdiers. Alright, more of the same up here, that's fine. Let's get some javelin men. I'll actually pull these guys down. This obviously Castile is going to be a bit more in danger. Okay, but we don't want to neglect Leon either. So let's go with a chapter house here so we can get the option to start a crusade. And we can get chivalric men-at-arms here already. But I'm going to wait. We will just withdraw if we're attacked there. I'm not going to start training a bunch of stuff. Okay, let's go with the castle and the ring wall. Okay, good. We're starting to get some kills with our agents. Alright, he wants a ceasefire. I mean, we don't really gain much from this. We potentially gain a port to trade at. So, you know, why not? It's way down the road, but we may as well. So it's kind of rare that you get peace offers or that you get peace once a war has started. So it seems kind of cool to accept it. Alright, that's good. That makes me feel a bit more secure. Are you Duke of Leon? And then we've got the Royal Knights in the castle too. Okay, so I guess we want to think... Let's wait for these guys to drop in here. But we want to think about Leon and how to potentially play against the... Where'd that unit go? I guess they did drop in. This is very strange. Alright, here we go. Alright, great. But how to play against the Almohads, because... You know, they're still at war with the Spanish. And now we've got our bishop in Grenada. We can see that they've got a citadel down here, and they've got some Ghazi infantry. Excellent attack. I believe they're good against armor. But it doesn't say that here. And very strong charge. Okay. Not too scary at, you know, the late era. But you do have to watch out for them a little bit. We've got time, though. We can start war with the Spanish again. Nothing preventing that. Alright, yeah, let's get some guys here to potentially ward off the French. And we've got our princess here. Okay, the French do own Provence. Let's check their diplomacy. Yeah, they're at war with the Swiss and the Italians, as well as the English. Alright, let's go up to Burgundy. We'll check out this area. I guess we don't need this princess here. She's 32. Let's go to Morocco. See what the Moroccans have in store. It's got to be the Almohads, right? Alright, I'm going to hope that one of these guys is going to get through. And I don't think we have too many. We've got another one in Sicily. We'll keep him there. Just in case there's any other religious agents that we want to take out. And yeah, 2,000 for income. So that is great news. Let's go ahead and do the salt mine. Why not? A little bit of passive income. And in Navarre... Let's see, what would be a really good... sort of high-impact thing. Okay, Spanish Jeannettes. We'll do that for sure. I'm looking for, like, little buildings that are fairly cheap, don't have a lot of cost, don't have a lot of time to build, and then also provide something immediately. So, you know, there are... I'd like to have chivalric knights, but honestly, I may just not have time to worry too much about that. Okay, great. First guy got it. Yeah, okay, turns out the Inquisition ends as soon as we assassinated one of the guys. Very nice. Okay, they want to marry a princess of mine. And I'm going to say no to that, because that... They may take my princess and then just drop the alliance with me because they're at war with these other people that I'm allied with. So let's say no. Not that it matters too much, but oh, great. Very nice to see that the Swiss have moved into Burgundy, and it's still nice and built up. So they've got some halberds, you know, some pikemen. They also have some unique stuff. These are some Swiss pikemen. And then their bodyguard unit, very interesting, is the Swiss armored pikemen. So this is the only infantry bodyguard unit in the game, I'm pretty sure. All right, well, Beatrice, keep going. Let's see what we can find over in Ile-de-France. All right, about 7 years, and then we'll try Valencia. The Germans are going to Antioch. Let's say no to alliance from Hungary. Come on, Almohads, you can do it. Okay, I think I've got enough archers with mercenaries and everything else. Crossbow types, anyway. So what else would be good? I think I need more of a line. We've got 3 of the swordsmen here. And then we've got, another couple up here. So we've got 1 spear, 2... Alright, let's retrain you. And get another of those kind of light spears. The difference between feudal and chivalric sergeants is not totally clear to me. Because the game doesn't give you all the stats, right, in-game itself. They both have a very strong charge, defend well versus cavalry, deep formation. These guys may not have a large shield, although it looks like they do. These guys are armored, but it also says weak attack and poor morale. And it doesn't say weak attack and poor morale here for the feudal sergeants. So you get the impression that the feudal sergeants are like the better fighters, but the chivalric sergeants are better armed. It's kind of hard to tell. We'll get a few of each and try to pay attention to how they perform. Get some light cavalry in Aragon. Okay, the English have Ile-de-France. Alright, French are excommunicated. That means they are now a Crusade target. Okay, interesting. Spanish going to be attacking the Almohads, which means that attack will land in Cordoba. Unless they have a fleet. Alright, I'll take an alliance from the Pope. The Almohads, no, however, because I imagine we're going to be at war. Okay, so we didn't get a princess. I'm a little concerned now. Okay, he's 26. My king has plenty of time, but we do need to find another princess. Okay, so there's one here in the Spanish, a Spanish princess. Let's try that. The Spanish would love an alliance with me, possibly, maybe. We'll do that. And let's see. Okay, Ile-de-France, held by the English. So that probably means Flanders, maybe Anjou has fallen to the English as well. Let's check that out. And we can build crusades in Leon now. And the only reason to do that, again, is because I might get buffed up Knights of Santiago in Leon. So, with that, I'm honestly not sure. It might be a good idea to build a port here to give me some options for, where I move my crusades, and here as well. I guess I can afford, to take 2 years to build a trading post and then go with a port. Yeah, let's get some light cavalry over here. Yeah, so we get the message on the AI's turn, so last year, 1335. So not this year, 1336, but maybe in the following turn, we'll see an attack into Cordoba. And it's still a little too early for us to strike. All right, Sicily. Let's go this, because the Bell Foundry is actually going to be useful for building certain kinds of ships. So now we've got an alliance with the Pope. I'm not so worried about invasion by land, but Sicily will be where I make my fleets. All right, they want a crusade against the French. All right, Prince Fernando has matured. Excellent. We're going to ignore that. All right, so we don't need to get marriage with the Spanish, but we might anyway. Maybe our brother is going to end up doing that. Okay, Prince Fernando, the only trait he has is Secret Blackmailer. That's going to be bad for loyalty, so that could be a big problem later on, because he's not going to be in the direct line of the throne. He's the younger brother, the youngest brother of the current king. So that is too bad. It doesn't do anything right now. There's actually no effects, but if it gets found out, there is like a -3 to loyalty. So we'll have to keep him close with a more loyal person, or right under the king. I mean, like, we could do a Crusade at Toulouse. Let's see how old the Pope is. 46. I mean, Toulouse is pretty good. It's only a castle, but this does get Chivalric Knight Valor bonus. Again, it's questionable if I would get really to use that bonus because of the lack of time in this campaign, and the fact that if I conquer that, it's going to be setting it back a little in terms of development anyway. Let's get an inn. I think in the late era, you just want to really focus on, the things that can give you quick benefits. Let's get a cardinal. I honestly don't know really how they differ from a bishop. So bishops improve the faith, and cardinals improve the faith probably by a higher amount. I don't think they do anything else. But we'll get him out in the world anyway. And yeah, let's just keep going on Jeanette's. Put you there, because I'm a little worried about the loyalty. Okay, the French are going up for Anjou, and it looks like the Almohads are getting ready to attack. Good. Alright, the Decameron, Boccaccio's Decameron. So, -10% zeal. Lame. Okay, so this is Prince Sancho. I will take it. Ooh, should I though? They're at war with the French. It's going to antagonize the French. I feel pretty secure. Let's do it. Here's Prince Sancho. He's got a Swiss princess here. And we're now allied with the Swiss. And if their faction is eliminated, like, within a couple of turns, in a certain specific way, we may inherit some land. Very unlikely, but it could theoretically happen. Let's go to Lorraine. And, I mean, I guess we don't need the Spanish princess, so let's cancel that. Let's, in fact, go over to Venice. I'm just kind of curious. But we do have an Inquisitor up here. So we'll try to take him out, and then... Okay, we've got... I'm wondering, too, if these Cardinals might be a good sort of counter to the Inquisitors. Let's move him up. Okay, so we're going to have to start piling guys into other stacks. I guess that's okay. I'm a little concerned about this guy. Actually, Fernando is the more loyal guy, even though he's the secret blackmailer. But he's got worse command. Okay, let's do a feudal knights unit. I rarely train these. Knights are kind of, I don't know, they're tricky because they're an expensive unit. You get some free, albeit smaller versions in your own bodyguard if you're a Catholic faction. And I just don't know if the feudal knights ever really wowed me. Like, it's the chivalric knights that seem like the goal. Or if you're playing like as the Italians or the Germans, the Gothic knights. So I just never spend that much time on those guys. Oh, we've got chivalric knights now. Dang, okay. All right, well, let's do that too. When did that happen? That must have just happened. Let's go for the metalsmith. And I guess I can do something in Sardinia. You know, we may as well get ship capability there too. Okay, so now we've got a couple of caravels, both led by a 1-star commander. We can link up, and you can see how the range we've got. We can go all the way to the Adriatic Ocean, or the Sea of Crete, or the Straits of Gibraltar. So I could get, like, it's not going to do me any good, but I could put my ships over here, give me a bit of visibility, I guess. I could start trading immediately with Malta, and that actually would not be a bad idea. Malta doesn't have any trade goods, so they're going to take all of this stuff, and that'll be nice. Right now, we're making 115 just in local trade, and probably trading with Naples. I think we can check that out. Well, yeah, it doesn't tell you. I assume that's trade with Naples. All right, great. Killed that other Inquisitor, and a son is born. Beautiful. So our king is 29. He married last year or the year before, just some local noble woman, and he's had a son. So our heirs list is looking a bit better. I think this is going to be the heir when he comes of age in 15 years, Prince Ferdinand, and I think he's got a good chance of making it, as long as this guy doesn't get into an unfortunate battle. All right, let's see. Okay, so you're not great. Maybe the feudal knight. He's actually pretty decent for acumen, but the loyalty is so low. I guess we could make him Keeper of the Privy Seal and then give him Duke of Aragon. Yeah, let's actually go with that. It gives him 1 star and a couple of shields, and then this gives him a star and some more acumen. 1887 is pretty good. I think, you know, training a couple of knights does drain your coffers a bit. And let's see what this is making now. 230, so it more than doubled my income. This is just rebels, which, am I at war with them? I don't think so, actually. Let's see what I could do. Yeah, they're neutral. Okay, so, I mean, yeah, I knew we were trading because of the fact that our income jumped up, but interesting that we're not at war with the rebels. Now, this could be another bribery option. They've got some infrastructure. Town militia means, I think, pikemen. They've got a trading post, which is weird because they've got no trade goods, so they shouldn't be able to build this at all. But actually, some very nice infrastructure. Boyar's Guild, so some good crossbow types. Okay, interesting. So the Italians are besieging the French in Venice. We've got a Serpentine. All right, a lot of Royal Knights in here. Let's keep the emissary there to see what's happening. So let's go to, yeah, Swabia is fine. Yeah, there's a lot here. They're getting ready, but they're not really moving. The Spanish are just not producing that much. But 2 more years and we will have a crusade. And the Spanish seem not to have actually made the attack that our spy reported. Papacy planning to attack Italy. Alright, we've got a port now in Leon. So that may give our crusade a little more flexibility, even though we don't have a fleet. I think crusades work differently. If there's a port, I think they can use it regardless of your shipping. It's a little different from the normal procedure. I've got to assume they're going to attack here. Let's build something in Navarre. Let's just do armor. And in Leon, maybe we'll... I'm thinking we may be fighting in the desert at some point, right? We may go down to Morocco or Algeria even. So it might be nice to have a place without too much armor. Alright, Sicily. I think we're going to do ships and we're going to do agents here. So let's go with that for a +1 assassins. Okay, Crusade going maybe for Toulouse. Alright, Prince Gark. Okay, they're going to Tripoli, which means they're probably going to go through my territory just to mess me up. Got another son, though. Prince Gark, Irritable, +1 Dread, that's nice. And Killer Instinct. Great. Alright, so it's 1240 or 1341. It's kind of time to go for Valencia. These guys are going to Tripoli. I'm a little concerned that what they're going to do if I don't move soon is that they're going to come down into Aragon and siphon off with the Crusade a lot of my troops. The zeal here is middling, but the higher the zeal, the more of the local troops will decide to join a crusade, if it's Catholic, right? So, or if the region is Catholic. So this crusade is actually a threat. You know, the English are my ally. Yeah, they're an ally of mine. But they're probably going to use this territory. They might be, you know, heading down into, you know, going the long way, which would kind of be fine for me. But not if it's going to disrupt my troops. So I think what I'm going to do is let's just train another relatively cheap Jeanette unit. And we'll move everybody over here. Here's an Inquisitor here. So let's send some of my, a couple of my low-ranking assassins after it. And I'll bring you here. And then, if the Crusade comes, it's either going to come into Navarre or Aragon, and I don't have troops there anymore, right? So the following year, I think will be good to hit the Spanish. But in the meantime, yeah, let's train something good. So, reviewing our forces, we've got 3, 4, 5 swordsmen. 5 royal knights, some chivalric knights. I mean, I guess I could move this guy back to retrain, but it's a bit late for that now. No point with the Crusade coming. Again, I think we've got lots of range stuff, so let's go with some more spears. And I think we should be fine to just bully these guys. We do have a lot of cav as well, so we can go for like the siege engines that are probably going to be in the back somewhere. There's no river attacking from this way, so it's also nice to move all of our troops to Castile to avoid that river crossing. All right, and now we can do something with our ships. I guess we could link up Sardinia. Or we could go down here to get some trade with Tunisia. Or the more profitable route. Well, yeah, the more profitable route by far would be to go up to Ligurian Sea. So we'll do that. We'll get out of Malta. I know that there's rebels there. At some point we'll send a ship down there to trade. But I like having a link here between these forces. And there's 3 ports up here rather than just the one. I know that Genoa makes silk, so we won't be trading our silk But the other goods, I think we can trade. I don't know what Tuscany makes, but Corsica has nothing. So basically, we're going to be doing as good as Malta by just trading with Corsica. And actually, we're going to do better because we're trading with these other two places. So that's going to be the goal. Let's see. All right, so let's watch that English Crusade. Yep. Aragon. Okay, so yes, we'll allow it to pass. And, right. Okay, so this is the Spanish Inquisitor in Castile. Great. But we lose a spy in Naples. And we're going to, again, avoid alliance with a daughter coming of age in 15 years. We don't want to ally with the Almohads because I see the writing on the wall here. We're going to need to fight them for Valencia, I would imagine. Oh, we got a civil war, it looks like. Yes, civil war among the French. Swabia is rebel. Let's see if Switzerland has anything. And let's see, I move on to Tyrolia too. Okay, so the English are doing pretty well, and they took, yeah, they took about a third of my men. A little less. So, you know, a little obnoxious, but what can you do? Now, though, the problem is I'm not sure where they're going to go. They started in Aquitaine, or at least as far as I could tell, and they came down here. So presumably they're going to go either to Castile or to Valencia. Of course, I would love if they go here, but I'm going to assume that they're also going to go to Castile. So let's bring everybody up to Navarre, because I think that'll be safer. And we need to have a couple of people just holding down the fort in Castile. Okay, so public order is great everywhere. Let's just double check that we've got taxes where we want them. Okay. And the income is quite good. Yes, and now we've got our new... the reason we can see the Civil War, in part, is because we've got our new fleets up in the Ligurian Sea. So this is already quite the improvement. Yeah, 418. So we've doubled again what we had in Malta. So that's all very, very nice. But, I mean, I guess we may as well do some more training, right? And then for building, let's... Geez, let's just go for the old shipwright, I suppose. But here, yet we're doing another Jeanette's unit. We'll keep that. May as well get a bishop. And we've got our Crusade built. We're just waiting to see what happens here. Because we could, like, theoretically, we could hit Valencia right now, right? We could hit it from Castile. But I want to see if this is going to do damage to it. And I also want to wait to see if the Almohads are going to go in and take out a bunch of the Spanish for me. I'd rather have them do it. We've got 7 years by the time we click end year here. So I think that's time for us to get the province. We don't need to conquer the castle. Yep, there they go. For the sake of the points. Okay, the English are crusading into Venice too. All right, and they can do that because there is an open invitation from the Pope to crusade against the French. So, yeah. Now where's this army going to go? And they're taking about, you know, a quarter of my troops. All right, well, I assume 1237. So they've picked up some men. It's not a great-looking army, but if they go to Cordoba, which presumably they would, right? If they just go to Valencia now, I'm going to be a little annoyed. But they might do a couple of things. They might, one, be using the port. I don't know if there need to be ships, really, for the Crusade to use a port. But they might be doing that. They might, I guess, be going to Leon for some ridiculous reason. The AI can, again, path wherever it wants for Crusades, it seems like. They might, and I think they're more likely to go to Cordoba. I think it's either going to be they use fleet magic and go right to, what is it, Tripoli? Or they go to Cordoba. I think that's the more likely, which is interesting because that'll then put them at war with the Almohads, who will then have to scramble, right, and kind of decide what they're going to do. And that gives me time to go over here and crusade for Valencia. Now I think I'm going to wait like a turn. I want this army to clear out before I send a crusade over. This castle has 3 years, so they've got actually a significant amount of time. There's only 181 men, so not a ton. But it would be kind of cool if the Almohads were to take this fully, because if I send a crusade and then the Almohads pull out, let's say to defend Cordoba against the English, then I think I might get a message saying, oh, this is back in the hands of Catholics of good standing, and your crusade has been, disbanded. And I'm a little worried what that might do to my king's influence, which is only 4. So we need to do a little bit of work here, and I want to do a successful crusade to increase his influence, and so I want to make sure that's going to work. So we'll just wait a little bit, but I will send these guys all down again, because now I think it's very unlikely. Yeah, and you guys can come back too. I think it's very unlikely that the English is going to stay here in Castile. I think they are going to move elsewhere. All right, let's... I guess we may as well get some feudal sergeants here, and then just, I don't know, do something with the spearmen later. All right, and we're going to have a ship next turn. So that means we can actually move our fleets now. We don't need to wait. Like, I could move this guy here. That'll be trading with Toulouse, which does produce silk, but nothing else. And then that's, next turn, we're going to have the ship back. That'll be fine. Then we'll have one more ship, which when that comes along, we can move over to Valencia. And then we'll have all of our territories nice and linked, hopefully, assuming all this works out. So let's go. All right, so Crusade again. That's the main point of interest here, what that Crusade does. Good. All right, and they just withdraw? All right, very interesting. And the Spanish are wiped out. Nice. Okay. A son coming eventually. Great builder for Alfonso. Nice, so that's improving happiness. All right, so the Spanish are eliminated. That means that I can pretty confidently send my crusade over here. 750 florins to secure support. Let's see what we get. We got a couple Knights of Santiago. Beautiful. Beautiful. And check it out. So the Valor bonus works. I think this is something I knew, but it's always nice to, just see. Yes, this guy does have 3 command, but remember, every 2 command stars gives 1 Valor to the units under him. So that's where the 1 Valor is coming from in these Order foot soldiers, and it's where the extra point of Valor is coming from in the Knights of Santiago. One of those points of Valor, of course, is coming from the bonus in Leon. So that is awesome to know. And we've got a 3-star general leading this very cool-looking Crusader unit. All right, so we have a couple of options in terms of where to go. One, we could pay back the English in their own coin, which would be hilarious. So I'm a little worried about this, though, because the English are not going to stick around. And I suspect the Almohads are going to move back here in force. They don't have anybody in Grenada, really, but they may have strong forces in Morocco that move up. And if I have to withdraw, that would be kind of lame. So let's just go to Castile. It's going to be annoying because I'm going to lose, troops are going to join the Crusade, kind of. So this is going to be, it's a little weird. Do I want to move these guys? It might be worthwhile to move like 1 stack back to Aragon. We've got a beautiful unit here. Oh, I'm glad I checked. Check it out, Almogavars. These lightly armed Catalan mercenaries ply their trade all around the Mediterranean. They are shock troops armed with javelins that give them a fearsome missile attack to open gaps for a subsequent charge with their spears. Few others can match their professional determination and ferocity. And we get some Spanish javelin. Both of these guys have a +1 weapon upgrade, and I think that's a +3 armor. This is awesome. I'll take both of them just because it seems cool to get a couple of skirmishers right off the bat like that. And we'll just keep them here under Don Rui de Agreda, who we may as well give the title King of Navarre. Or what's the Sardinia title give? It just gives one. Yeah, let's give him the Navarre title because he's right here. All right, that boosts up his loyalty. Do that, and yeah, let's retrain the spearmen just so I have 100 men. There are mercenaries in Navarre, including a bombard. Let's take that. It's a bombard is kind of an unpredictable unit to use. You can't really rely on it because it can explode. All right, but we'll move. So we moved some troops away, and let's train something else that's good here. Yeah, I guess we'll do that. Okay, but now Leon feels pretty safe because there are rebels nearby, but they're unlikely to attack. And now Cordoba is in the hands of the friendly English, at least for a little while. So we move over to Castile, and then next turn we move everybody, including the Crusade, to Valencia. And then in 6 years, we get the points for the glorious achievement. Yeah, so let's do, I guess we'll just do ring walls in Navarre. I guess in Leon I want to build something. You know, it might be worth going for a castle here. 12 years, but, you know, I keep just feels very low-tech. And if that's my Crusade province, I think it might be nice to have the, you know, all the buffs. All right, that's going to give us a little bit of money, and then we'll go for caravels there next year. For Sicily, let's do a church. All right, what are the Almohads going to do? And what's the Crusade going to do? Because they own Cordoba outright, which is fascinating. Oh, they got a jihad. Wow. All right, so the Crusade comes down to Grenada, and the Almohads are going to back out of there. Now, they're actually going to hole up in the castle, so the Crusade is... It's not going to have much of an impact here, but as the Crusade moves through these provinces, what it is also doing is destroying the Muslim infrastructure, because you can't have a faction of one religion own a province with another religion's specific buildings. So all of the mosques, like if there's a great mosque, the Ribats, I believe, which is where, I think that's where you get the jihads. So all those things are being destroyed. Now, I don't know if there is a lot of that stuff in Cordoba and Grenada or Morocco, but I'm hoping there is, and I'm hoping that makes it harder for the Almohads to respond like this. But yes, they got back Cordoba, at least for now. All right, the Byzantines have stuck with me over the Almohads. I'm getting secret blackmailers. All right, and this is a pretty strong force. All right, so they've got Ghulam Bodyguard. Some of the coolest looking units in the game, Morabitan Infantry. Javelins, and I also like them just because of the style of unit that they are. I like these infantry javelin units that are surprisingly strong, you know? So, that's great. They've got a decent amount of camels, which will be interesting to fight. I should have brought more, maybe just regular foot archers. I think we'll be okay. And as you can see, yeah, what we've... having the Crusade in our own territory does take away from our own men too, which is a little silly, but that's what happens. Okay, so let's move in. We're going to move down from here, and partly what I would like to do is relieve Cordoba as well, but I don't think I have enough men to do it confidently, at least yet. If the English can hold out for a couple of years, I'd be glad to move over and help them. So we'll get our Crusade set up. You know, we may have picked up a few men just incidentally. Yeah, these arquebus units, those did not come from our own troops. We did not train them. So that's kind of cool to see, but a lot of this is, you know, my own guys that I stole from the other stacks. So it messes up the symmetry of your units, which is a little annoying. But we can bring absolutely everybody down here. Let's just check loyalty. Okay, Michael Calaphides, I think you need to go with somebody. Okay, yep. Loyalty looks great there. I'm not worried about the English backstabbing me, or at least I hope they won't. And yeah, public order is fine. And so we need to move the king. Now the king, Alfonso V, 4 command stars, so that's nice. He's a great warrior, so he's less likely to die in battle. We can get him into the fray a little bit. He's also got some armor. He's got a little bit of valor. But he is a hedonist, so he's got less valor than he would normally have. And now I need to leave somebody behind, and I guess it's going to be this unit here, pretty loyal. Move everybody in to Valencia. And I think between, like, this is kind of a full stack. It's a little misleading because we've got a few of these units that are just like 7 men here. But that's 700. This is 600, so we've got 13, 1500, 17. So it's like 25-ish, 100 men. And then there's a lot here, right? They've got like 3 stacks. We're going to call this good. I think what I'm going to do is set this up for episode 3 to be the battle for Valencia. We're attacking mostly from Castile, I think. The Crusade is coming from here. The King's army is coming from here. And, you know, this stack is coming. So I think all of this, I think that means we're fighting not on a river crossing. That's my hope anyway. And this is probably going to be a pretty big battle. This could be a total walkover if depending on what the Almohads do. Like if they move enough forces to support Cordoba, which they might because the stack here is not terribly big, then if their king is still in Valencia and I outnumber them significantly, they may move everybody out of Valencia, and I might get it without a fight. On the other hand, they might move the king to reinforce Cordoba, maybe move, you know, this guy up, I don't know. But we might have a big fight on our hands or nothing at all, and that'll be interesting either way. So what we want to do is be ready to take Cordoba pretty soon, because obviously now that we are at war with the Almohads, if we get Valencia, which I assume we will, we would still have a 3 province border with them, which is obviously untenable, right? We have to take Cordoba. And thankfully, no one's got Portugal, so this we can just leave for a while because, you know, I don't want to deal with attacking all these feudal knights and chivalric sergeants. I'll get to them later, but for now we want to get the Valencia province under control. We're well within our time limit to get that by 1350. And then, probably before then also, grab Cordoba. And then we can pause. I don't feel the need to get Grenada. That only opens up, you know, another front with Morocco. And Cordoba is the better province anyway. It's got lots of trade goods, and it may have a bit of infrastructure for us. So that's going to be the plan for the next episode. Maybe a big battle in Valencia to determine the outcome of this crusade, and then certainly some more fighting for Cordoba. So hope you join me then. Take care until then.